Hey guys, so this is something I've been working on for like the last 3 days, and it was sparked by Jay's need to update the attachment 1A to the bid forms. And so I wanted just to show you kind of what I've been working on, get some feedback, and see if this is something that you guys think could be improved upon and maybe hopefully be used in the long run, or a similar process like this for the estimators out there, because I feel that this task could be revamped and a lot of money and time and depression could be saved. And so I'm going to present the problem. You have your attachment 1A, and then you have all the other stuff that needs to be updated against this, which is a file containing all the sheets that the design team has handed over to the printer or that are in the CD. Basically, these are the sheets that what is my understanding are being given to the subcontractors. And so you want to have an attachment 1A, which is a legal document, to be as updated as possible. And traditionally, I think what people have been doing is you go here, you look for that, and then you look for it in the folder, and you back check that way. And I mean, I feel like that's a pretty laborious effort. And so I set out to try to find a faster, automated way to do that, and I'll be showing that to you guys now. So one of the first things I wanted to do was convert this into a text file that I could then manipulate in Excel. So the way to do that is I go to Command, and then here's your DOS interface. It's pretty outdated, so hopefully if you guys see any potential in this, we can make it so that you don't have to go into the command line and do all that, and hopefully we can package this into a more user-friendly method, and you'll see why. It's kind of rough in the later on. So I'm going to put in direct C. Basically what this is doing is it's going to find my folder where I have all my documents, and it's going to convert it into a text file. So the folder is called 1A docs, and I'm going to write all that information into the C drive. And bear with me, I know this might take a while, and a lot of the things do, but I think you'll see the efficiency of this. And we're going to call it test 1A. It's going to be a TXT file. Alright, it seems like everything is okay. So now we're going to go back and check that this in fact was created. So we go test 1A. Perfect, that's what we want. And this is what it looks like. So that folder, that if you remember, got converted into all text. It has like the date created, the date, but more importantly, it has the sheet name, and so that will come in handy. So we go to Excel and want to open that up so we can manipulate it. So I say open all files, and here we are, test 1A. So I'm starting at row 8 because traditional with these text files is the first 8 sections of it. As you see, the first 8 are pretty much junk, and then you don't start getting the file name till the 8th line, and there you have A001-1-C cover sheet. So that's the money, that's what we want, Move on, and then we're gonna create these cells. And so you see all this trailing junk .pdf, .c, / cover, all this stuff. We don't want that. What we want for this and for example, is we want A000-2-C. That's all we want. But I created a macro that will get rid of that, and I'll show that next. So now here we have everything that was in the PDF folder. We have it in its own cell, and some of it is trailing, some of it got cut off, and some of it is there, but we're going to clean that in a bit. So we have this. We go into the template that I created under the dot comparison sheet. I'll explain this in a bit. And this is where we're going to be comparing what we have against the PDF folder. So to exemplify what I coded up was, remember all that junk at the end that we didn't want? So let's say, for example, in this case, we don't want, this is an example, we don't want the .pdf. We don't want the .pdf in caps. Here, we don't want the dash. We want the dash to be a point because that's the nomenclature that we've been using on this project, or so I assume. Here, we don't want the dot. We want a dash. In between two letters should be a dash, not a dot. And then here, for example, there's a space. Anything, the way the nomenclature of the sheets are is if there's a space in between a letter, that space, that whatever's after the space is not a part of the sheet name. So we go to clean data and see what happens. Basically, it got rid of everything. It got rid of the .pdf, it got rid of the .p, it turned this dash into a dot, and then it got rid of all the spaces. So that's good, that's what we want. So when we go back to the Excel sheet that we created, test 1A, here, paste it in there. You see it has a bunch of junk. So what you're going to do is you're going to press clean data, and bam. This will take a while, I think, or, well, it's getting faster. What it did is it got rid of all the junk we didn't want, it converted all the dots that we don't want into dashes, it converted all the dashes we don't want into dots, and so forth and so on. And so it did that for us. So now we go to what we have, our attachment 1A, and these are all currents. These are all things that, according to us, should be sent out to the subs. We go to the Doc Comparison tab. Here it says DPR list of documents on the Excel file. We want to clean that one as well because this one, the issue that this one has is it might have a trailing space, and so if the cell reads C321 space, and then over here it reads C321 without a space, those two will be different, and we don't want that. So we clean that one as well. Let's clean the other one just for fun. So now we're going to say compare documents, and it's going to populate the H and the J columns. The H column is going to have R in the DPR1A, which means it is in here, but it is not in the PDF file folder, which means it is not in here. Under column J, you will find R in the PDF file folder here, but are not in the DPR1A document list here. So compare documents. So in the DPR1A, there are 2,949 unique sheet names. This is important to know because duplicates will mess up the program, so I coded for that case. There are 125 duplicates in the 1A. There are 3,200 unique files in the PDF folder. There are 73 duplicates in the PDF folder. So, according to this program, there are 231 files that are in the DPR1A that are not in the PDF folder. Now I am populating the cells that are in DPR1A but not in the PDF folder. There you have it. So that was 233 different cells. Now I am populating cells that are in the PDF folder but not in the DPR1A attachment. And so you have your list. However, this list consists of 231 and this list consists of 481. Those are kind of high numbers. And the problem is that more on the user side. So for example, let's look at the PT. PT-S1.7. Well, if we look over here, it's actually the same. It's actually in here as well, but they put a dot. PT.1.S1.7. So those prove to be different, and you get the same happening. For example, this G100-0-1. If we look on the other side, G100-0-B, that O should be a 0. So you see that a lot of the errors that we are catching are because of just the way that the sheet number was inputted in the first place, and so the computer won't know the difference. But working with what would be a total of 600 documents and back-checking those and deleting any ones that shouldn't be there, as opposed to dealing with about 6,000 documents on the other side, well, that shows an advantage. And so I manually, it took me about like 15 minutes. I went through there and I took out from the H column, I took out sheets that shouldn't be there, and from the J column, I took out sheets that shouldn't be there, and I got a more refined list, which are in the L and the M columns. And so the L column now has about 150, and the M column has about 300 sheets. Now this is, of course, me. I think a lot of this could also be narrowed down with if I sat down with like Jay, for example, and he could tell me exactly why is it the case that A50 is in the DPR1 attachment but not in the PDF folder. So that's something that can be explained. But for the purposes of this demonstration, these are the numbers that we're dealing with, and that's a delta, which is about 200 documents. And so I put the documents that need to be taken out of the DPR1A in L, and I put the documents that need to be put into the DPR1A in the M. So now I go to my attachment 1, and I also have a macro in here. And so what I'm going to do is, for every single sheet that shouldn't be in DPR1A, which is here, I'm going to change the status to, I think it's not in PDF. I'm just going to change the status. I'm not deleting it. I'm just changing the status, and we can filter for it later. So press this button, replacing all mismatches status to not in PDF file. And there you have it. Here's one of them. So for example, sheet A002 for some reason was not in the PDF file, but it is in the attachment 1A, so I changed the status. And we can filter for that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert all the new sheets that are in the PDF file but are not in the DPR1A. So if we go to the bottom, we see this is the end of our sheets, right? 3082. So I want to add all of the documents that should be here that were not. I want to do that, but I'm going to do it in an automated way. So I say insert column M from DPR from doc comparison. I do that. This is the number that I'm starting at. And this might take a while. It's going to insert, for every new sheet, it's going to insert a new row at the bottom of this list.
I'll miss you.
Oh, I just interrupted my video. That was Alex, my rival intern. We have a love-hate relationship. It's interesting. I guess I could talk about that while we wait. Oh, it's done. Enough about Alex. Okay. So, there you have it. You have your Excel sheet, and you have all the sheets by number, and then you have the status added by PDF file. Of course, I could have automated it so that I could have added the date, I could have added the permit set number, I could have added the increment. I think the sheet name is a more difficult thing. I think that, I mean, if the company wanted to explore this more, it could probably extract text from the PDF file itself and autofill this. But basically, I turned what could be into a 3-hour task or a 3-4 hour task, which is done routinely on big sites like this, into a much shorter time span. Of course, it has a lot of shortcomings. The files need to be properly named from the beginning, and I tested for some cases where that wasn't the case, but I can't, you know, my current abilities, I can't code for every single thing. And then, you know, it just, everybody needs to be on the same page. And of course, this isn't going to be like, this is specific to this project. There could be more user-friendly ways to make it so that it's usable across all of the company, and anyone with an attachment 1A Excel file can use it. But this is just the beginning to show you kind of what I've been working on. So for example, we have the not in PDF. I don't want that anymore. I don't want the subs to have that sheet. I say okay. They don't have that sheet anymore. And then I go to the end, and I have these. I can delete, and then I can sort this A to Z. And so now all the sheets that do need to be there are there, and they're in their place. Of course, you would need to lock it so that we can keep everything intact, but you get the point. So kind of automates this whole entry, and nobody has to be there and put it in themselves. Okay, I'll shut up now. Looking forward to your comments and your thoughts on this, as well as what I can, you know, do to make it better, or what should be the next step. And yeah, thank you for listening. I know it's a pretty long video.